Hey, welcome. Welcome to Alpine Garage Sports, folks. I am your host, Chris, and I hope everything is good because I think I got the mic right and I think I got the camera right today. So that's good, I guess, to be able to be seen and be heard. So we are talking about Cincinnati coming to Folsom Field this coming Saturday at 8:15 in the evening, another night game for the University of Colorado. I love these night games. I hate getting home at 1 2. I think last what was it, 2 weeks ago? I got home at 3 o'clock in the morning due to a whole bunch of things. But it's fun, and I love evenings in Boulder, especially with the tailgates and everything going on. It makes for a fun environment, and it's not super cold yet. It's going to get cold. First snow in these parts is going to be about mid next week, it looks like. So maybe we'll even bring you some footage of that as well. But an interesting time nonetheless. Now, Cincinnati, I think I put in the notes must win game. And I still believe that, and I think all of you believe it too. Anybody who does not believe that this is a must-win game, please put that down in the chat or make a comment later on, because it is definitely a must-win game because we are so stinking good, and that's the reason why. We are going to probably be able to win another game. If things go south, our defense doesn't show up, and we can't run the ball, kind of thing. Let's just say worst case scenario, we should still be able to win one more game this year. But I still think that, and if I'm too loud, let me know, but I still think that we can be in the hunt for the Big 12 championship game every single game for the rest of the season. We have to win every game to do that, though. If we lose another game, this is essentially a knockout game. So between us and Cincinnati, I mean, we both are 5-2. We're both 3-1 in conference. The loser of this game is, for the most part, out of the Big 12 championship race. The winner still has a shot, but it's not a shot that, when I say shot, it's not in their hands. If we win this game, when we win this game, it's not going to be in our hands. It's still up to the likes of BYU and Iowa State to start losing games in order for us to even be able to compete in that. But at the same time, we are still contenders, and that's a great thing to talk about. One game past the midpoint of the season, because this time last year, we had already had our hopes dashed, and we were not even talking about that in the Pac-12. So, but if you look at these two teams, I said in the KSU game, I said that I thought that this was the most evenly matched game that we had so far this season, meaning that the Kansas State game was. Then we go another week, and I'm looking at the Cincinnati game, and I'm going to say it, maybe I'll say it every single game this year. This looks like a very evenly matched game. And Cincinnati at the beginning of the year, I don't think I thought twice about them. In fact, I don't think I thought once about them, honestly, because they had a very similar year that we did last year. This game is so even. If you look at it, the same conference wins, the same overall wins this year. Both coaches in their second year at a new university. Both coaches had a terrible first season. I say terrible. We were 4-8. They were 3-9. Definitely both coaches have very good pedigrees and had a lot of wind behind them coming into, and a lot of expectations coming into their schools. And both of them did not, I say, hit the expectation mark from the standpoint of what the media thought should happen, right? So, but that stated, I still think because of all of those factors, this is a very even game. Even the quarterbacks are, I say, similar, and don't kill me for saying that. What I mean is that Brendan Sorsby is not a bad quarterback. He's actually a very good quarterback. He's obviously not to Shedeur's level. He's not an elite college quarterback, but he's a good college quarterback. Probably one of the better ones that we'll see this year, I think. At least that's the way it's shaping up right now. So what we're going to do first is I want to welcome everyone into the chat. Jennifer is in the show right now. D. Cott is in the show right now. And if you are in right now, sometimes the comments lag a little bit, but throw that down in there, and we will talk about it. But let's go through Cincinnati for a minute, because it's kind of an intriguing team, to say the least. And the reason why I say that is because it is, I think, probably the most balanced offense we're going to see this year. And when I say balanced, when you're looking at their averages, they're averaging 34 passes a game and 35 rushes a game. So they're really very good at the balanced attack. And that said, they've pretty much owned the time of possession in virtually every game that they've had this year. And we talk a lot on this show about time of possession and how it makes the big difference for a football team, because anytime you can keep the ball obviously away from the opposing offense and you can keep your defense off the field, you stand a better chance to win against a team that may have opportunities to press it to you. And Cincinnati is one of those teams. So they're very good at controlling the ball, which makes it harder for us to control the ball. And that is one of the things I'm going to say, that we have to defeat that for Cincinnati. We have to get time of possession on our side. But to go back into their offense, Brendan Sorsby, 67.2% efficiency, right at about 1,928 yards so far this year. You're looking at Shedeur at 72.2%, which is number one in the Big 12 in his completion percentage. And he's well over 2,200 yards, I believe, so far this year. So there is a little bit of a difference between the two of them. I mean, Sorsby is not as accurate a thrower, but still an accurate thrower. I mean, he's in the high 60s, means, you're probably hitting your high percentage passes and you're probably missing some of or a lot of your lower percentage passes. But one of the things we know about Cincinnati is they love the low percentage passes. They love that short game, whether it be the rushing game or whether it be the passing game, the short passing game. They love screens, and they love those short digs across the front. And Sorsby is very good at that. He's very accurate at that. It's when they start to go, it's when they start to do those long posts and stuff like that, that I think from what I've seen anyway, it looks like they have a tendency to kind of miss some of those. And it may just be because of the defenses that they've played this year. But when you're looking at, so quarterback play is solid. And I think that, with Sorsby being the number 3 rusher on their team, and don't get me wrong, I'm not talking about number 3 like he has 300 yards rushing. He's number 3 at 100 yards. But what I mean is that they have 2 pretty prolific backs, one specifically. But Sorsby can run, and he will run if given the opportunity. And he's not like a really fast runner, but he can get it done. He's a pretty big guy, and he can get some yards if he needs to. For running backs, Corey Kiner, 600 yards, 5.6 yards per carry is it's their predominant back. He has the vast majority of the rushes this year. Evan Pryor has significantly less rushes at 307 yards, but he runs at about a 10-yard per clip carry. And he's hard to get down. He's one of those guys that kind of reminds me of Welch in a way, in the fact that he runs low, he runs knees high, and it's really hard to tackle him. So, why he doesn't get more, I don't know. I'm not even going to say that. Okay. There is a running back, and it's really kind of a combination back that they have that has been really intriguing to me. His name is Manny Covey, 3.6 yards per carry, which isn't all that prolific. But when he gets the ball in a screen, he's 14.9 yards per catch. And he's not a true freshman. He's a redshirt freshman. And he is somebody kind of like, I think this could be a key for them in this game. Somebody we should definitely watch out for. I believe he's number 29 in your playbooks, folks. But Manny Covey, keep an eye on him, because he could be a secret weapon for him if they really wanted him to be. With their wide receivers, Xavier Henderson, 12 point. Listen to these yards per carry or large yards per catch. So Xavier Henderson, their number 1 receiver, 12.9. Joe Rover, 12.1. Jamoy Mays, 12.5. And then you have Backhalter and Turner with 19 and 17 yards per catch. And they are down on the depth chart, but they have big catch. So these guys have big catch abilities. And looking at a lot of these wide receivers, are really good after the catch. So initial tackle, they can usually break through them, especially Henderson. And so when I say a well-balanced offense, Kiner and Pryor are really good off the line. They're solid backs. I mean, obviously, I just said that Pryor is a 10 yards per carry average. But the nice thing about Kiner at what is it, like almost 6 yards per carry, is that he's consistent at that. So, that actually makes them number 22 in third down conversion in the country, which is, a big deal. It was a stat that stuck out to me. When I was watching their game, I can't remember who it was, Texas Tech. They were in the 20s at that point too in third down conversion, and watching their third down conversions, they have a pretty solid set when it comes to that balanced offense and being able to pick up third downs. So when you get to their defense, they have a good defense. Jared Bartlett, linebacker, 7 TFOs, 4.5 sacks. Eric Phillips, defensive tackle, 4.5 TFOs, 4 sacks. And Jake Golday, 5 TFOs, 1.5 sacks. So that 3, and then they have quite a few others that have tackles for loss and quite a few others that have sacks as well. But those are the 3 most prolific ones. They run a 3-down set in a lot of cases from what I've seen. And so, playing basically 8 between the linebackers and the defensive backs, I think obviously they're playing don't beat us big. And for a team like us, where we like to beat people in big plays, that could pose a problem. Although their defense is not prolific when you're looking at the passing defense. I want to say their passing defense, I wrote that down, as number 88 in the country. Number 88 in the country in pass defense. And they're running basically 8 backs on every player, most plays. So that really surprises me a lot. Let's see, what else do we have for them? I think they're going to run that set on us. They're going to try to make us run because they know that we don't like to run quite as much. And so they're going to say, hey, let's see what you can do in the run. And this would be a great game for us to probably really kind of push that. Now, we did have a game where we were at 150 yards, which is great. And that was recently, so that's good. But this may be one of those times when, and I think every game is one of those times when we can establish the run. We might actually make something of this. What's up, James Bond? How are you doing in the chat today? James says, we just need to play man assignments on defense. No hero ball on defense. Not worried about their offense. Okay, there you go. They're not a sexy offense, I guess you could say that, but they do get it done. Obviously, they get it done, and they get it done in the short game, and they basically just chew on you, and they chew on you, and they chew on you, and they chew on you until there's nothing left to chew on, and that's the way they've been winning games. And that is a very difficult type of an offense to defend against, because it's just an every down. It doesn't have to be a big play every time kind of thing, and they seem to figure out a way. Stats for Cincinnati: number 11 in fewest penalties. They are a very low penalty game, very, very clean game. That helps them obviously a lot in keeping the ball running, or keeping the clock running. And then also in time of possession and keeping the ball for quite a long time. They're number 25 in pass offense. So even though they're not prolific in their numbers, they still come in at 25 in their pass offense. Number 52 in their rush offense, so they're not slackers there. We talked about this. Number 88 in their pass defense, and number 96 in their rush defense. And that may be because of their 3-man line, but the 3 men that they have down in a lot of cases are pretty good at defending the run. One of the things we need to be careful of is going, right down the middle on this team. And we've shown the propensity that when we go on the outside, especially in this last game, we've been very successful. And I think that this is one of those games where we could actually try that a lot with like running our halfback passes and stuff like that, screens, counters, things like that. I think that's going to be pretty good in this game. Now let's look at CU's offense. QB, which is Shedeur Sanders, 72.2%, number 1 in the Big 12. We are a 39 pass, 27 rush, kind of a split. Keep in mind those 27 rushes counts sacks too. So we're more in the probably 21 rush per game scenario right there. We're still not a very prolific run team. Obviously, I think all of you know that. When it comes to our running backs, Isaiah has pulled ahead at 180 yards so far this year, 4.4 yards average carry. I'm going to throw Micah in there at 5 yards a carry. So Micah has the best average yards per carry on the team. And then Charlie is right behind him at 4.7. The wide receivers that we have, obviously Travis Hunter is number one at 604 yards. He has 11.8 yards per carry. The number one yards per catch on the team, Shepard, which I think we knew he's been that for most of the year, 14.8 yards. Wester's right behind him at 13.1, and then Horn at 12.7. So all of our four best receivers that are playing have a better yards per carry than their four. And so right there, you can obviously see our passing offense being number 7 in the country. Is a more prolific pass offense. On defense, Cam Silman Craig still is our probably our most prolific defensive player. Nakai Hill Green right there too. Both of them are tied with 53 tackles. But Nakai Hill Green has 6 TFOs and 2 sacks to his name. And, outside of the Kansas State game has played, it's just a significant year this year. And he wasn't bad in the Kansas State game either. It's just everybody on defense had a hard time tackling in the Kansas State game. Let's just put it that way. McKinney's number 3 at 44 tackles. Sam Okunlola with 5 TFOs, 5.5 TFOs and 3 sacks. And then BJ Green with 7 TFOs and 3 sacks. Those two are our most prolific on the line there. So we have a very strong defense. Obviously, they're getting better every single game. And this is going to be a great game from a balanced offense, going against a balanced offense standpoint to see what we can do. I really feel good about us being able to shut down their running game. They're averaging about 6 yards, 5.5 yards per carry, 6 yards per carry overall. And that is devastating to a team that is really bad against the rush. We are very good against the rush, and I think we can cut that down significantly, and we can actually keep them. We can break that, number 11 in third down conversion that they have. I think we can break that up. So did I say number 11? Sorry, they're number 11 in fewest penalties. They're number 22 in third down conversion. So I think we can break that down with our running defense. Offense still needs to figure out time of possession. I put that down as a note for Colorado. Time of possession in this game is going to be super important because we're going against a team that understands what owning time of possession will do. And if they do what they've done in other games, they will keep it away from our offense, and that is devastating to us. Our defense is great, but we never want to keep our defense out longer than we have to. And we need to keep the ball in Shedeur's hands as often as we can. So time of possession is going to be a big one. I know the coaches are talking about that. I've heard it coming from them the last couple of weeks. And then also you've heard a lot about running the ball from the coaches. Coaches understand how important that is for time of possession as well. Colorado's stats, number 7 in passing offense. So we are world beaters in our passing offense, and it isn't going to stop here. Going against the number 88 pass defense, I think we're going to have some pretty prolific numbers. I see Shedeur with 450 yards in this game. Number 129 in rush offense. This is where we need to get this fixed. And you can say, well, you can't be number 7 in pass without being really low in run. And that's not true. There are a lot of teams out there that are in the top 10 that have, top 30 rushing offenses. So I still think it's important, and I'm not going to keep beating a dead horse, but yes, I am, because that is where we start, especially when we get into these latter games, are going to get a little bit harder. And if we can get to the Big 12 championship, we need to protect Shedeur, and part of that is allowing him to get the ball out of his hands very quickly with the run game, or even the short pass game. I'm going to lump in short pass game. That is really short routes or tight end routes or passes to the running back, those kinds of things that are all in that short game. So when I say rush on this show, I mean rush and short game. To me, it's the same thing. I don't need to see specific running yards. I need to see just Shedeur getting the ball out of his hands within 2 seconds and us gaining 3 to 5 yards per attempt. Put it that way. So we are number 61 in pass defense and number 79 in rush defense. So our defense is pretty good on both sides. Not world beaters on either side, but at the same time getting significantly better. And keep in mind that these take into account a couple of really kind of bad defensive games early in the year. And we're probably better than that overall if you take those two out or you average them out a little differently. So I think our defense overall is better than their defense, and our offense overall is better than their offense. And when you say those two things together, what do you get? You get a win. And so that's what I'm predicting here for the Colorado Cincinnati game. I'm predicting a win. I do think it's going to be close, but I don't think it's going to be a field goal close. Like I think it's going to be within 7 points. And so I'm thinking that we're going to be probably 38-31, something like that. I think both teams are going to score. I think both teams are very good at scoring, so I think they're going to score. But I honestly feel like we're going to do a pretty good job in this game, especially being at home. And we're playing at night, and Cincinnati is 2 time zones away. So they're kicking off at 10:15 at night. And if you don't think that has anything to do with anything, just remember these guys are college students, and 10:15 at night after a long week, they're playing until essentially 1:00 their time. And I think that does have an effect, especially when you're talking about being at altitude. So that is what I've got to say in this one. Let's go through some of the chat here and see what people have to say. James Bond says no missed tackles. Yes. If you look at the Texas Tech game that Cincinnati actually lost, the Texas Tech did not do a very good job with tackling that I saw. They were able to put up a lot of points, and that's how they won the game. But Cincinnati almost came back and won that game, and they did it because of the tackling of Texas Tech. So we do need to look at that. Dante S. says the Big 12 has a lot of teams that were group of 5 just a few years back. Didn't realize that. Yeah. So this is an interesting, and a lot of them are good this year too. So that's what makes this conference so much fun this year, is that Colorado is a burgeoning team that came from the depths of obscurity just a couple of years ago and was in there for 20 years. So we were not a group of 5 school, but we played like a group of 5 school, right? We played very low in D1 competition. And so you have the likes of, Cincinnati, UCF, and things like that are schools that are burgeoning now and weren't good in the past. And it becomes a very scrappy conference. And that's what I love about this. I mean, last year playing in the Pac-12, and you had the real big world beater schools that have been good for a long time with, super quarterbacks and offenses that could kill and defenses that could kill, ranked in the top 10. It was fun to watch the games, but it was devastating with the losses. This year, the competition, I think, is much better, and that's what I like about it. Maurice Gamble, an OG subscriber, elevation, long travel, body clock set on East Coast time, Cincinnati in big trouble. Running that week 3-3-5, going to get ugly for the Bearcats, 55-13. Maurice is looking for a slaughter. I like that, Maurice. Thank you very much. And then Dennis says, looking ahead, Utah gonna feel payback. Yes, Utah does not look like they did last year, obviously. And at the beginning of the year, everything is flipped for me, because at the beginning of the year, I thought Utah was going to be the biggest hurdle for us. And as we get closer to Utah, I'm sure they will look better and I will change my tune. But right now, they don't look as heavy as some of the other teams that we're going to be playing. Like, I think Texas Tech is going to be a harder game than Utah, oddly enough. And I mean, I would even say that that's on par with the Cincinnati game too. So Utah and Cincinnati to me kind of feel very similar as well. So yeah, I mean, the only thing we have to do is win games. That's all we have to do. It doesn't have to be pretty. I'm probably going to be less picky personally going forward, because we can't do anything without winning. So if we have to win ugly, then winning ugly, I'm going to celebrate it. We just need to pay particular attention to the time of possession. Everything else we can probably get around, but we have to learn this time of possession thing, guys. Any score predictions? Yeah, who's got a score prediction for this one? Throw it up. I'm at 37-31. which is a kind of an odd score, but that's what I'm predicting. And then let's see if anybody else has any. We've got about 3 more minutes left in the live, and then we're going to do a pregame show on Saturday, early Saturday morning, and then we're gonna head to the campus and we're gonna hang out, and we're probably gonna find a really good German restaurant there and eat some lunch, and then we're gonna go live several times during that day, show you all the festivities like we normally do. We'll be there for the Buff Walk, which is probably going to be around 5:45 or so, 5:30, 5:45, 6 o'clock. And I will post those on my channel. So if you subscribe and you put on your notifications, the top line of my channel is going to have the lives that are scheduled, and you can literally go in and you can be involved in each one a little bit early. Because when we go live on those days, it's usually like we're going to go live and show you something. So don't miss that. And then, I don't know, maybe a surprise on Saturday. Let me see if I can surprise you with something. Ron Wilson says 45-14. So there are quite a few people that are predicting a blowout. I think, let's see. I think this may be like the UCF game. Could be 48-17, another blowout. 40-24, another blowout. 40-14, another blowout. And then VHF, another OG subscriber, like Johnny Cash might say, Cincinnati will be stuck in Folsom County Prison. Yes. I wanted to kind of end on this. I lived in Cincinnati for about a year, 2 years, something like that. And I actually proposed to my wife in Cincinnati. So if you guys wanted to know, you guys know I've been together with my wife for a very long time. And I actually proposed to her when we were living in Cincinnati, moved around the country a lot with my job. And one of the things, I went there kicking and screaming to Cincinnati, didn't want to go because I'm a West guy. I'm a West. I don't like going East. But I went there reluctantly. And we had the time of our lives. It was a great city. Cincinnati is a very fun city. For those of you who have never been there, it is just a great city. Lots of things to do. The topography is really nice. And the people there are really, really great people. Some of our best friends are in Cincinnati. So the one thing I will say, though, is Skyline Chili. This has been a big debate, and you've heard about it. If you haven't been to Cincinnati and had Skyline Chili, there are people that say that it's the best and it's kind of what makes Cincinnati, Cincinnati. And there are others that don't like it too much. And I'm going to give you my opinion right now. Skyline Chili, no. It's not the putting chili on spaghetti thing, which is what Skyline Chili is all about. It's putting chili on spaghetti. But their chili is like Eastern chili. It's very bland. It doesn't have a lot of taste. And I'm used to Western chili that has lots of peppers and stuff in it, and actually has a little bit of a bite to it. And you can know that it's chili. Anything Texas West, that chili is going to be pretty good. Anything Texas East, the chili is going to be terrible. It's probably going to be more like, if you're putting it on pasta, then it's got to be like marinara, and that's what it tastes like. So Skyline Chili, went there several times, gave it lots of opportunity because our friends love Skyline that live there. No, not for me. Anything else in the chat before we take off? Sharon says, hello, boss Chris. Thanks for keeping us informed. I don't leave comments consistently. However, I always view your content. Well, thank you, Sharon. I appreciate that. Sharon's OG as well. Travis, can Shedeur play with Colorado next year, or does he have to go to the NFL? He could be a graduate student if he wanted to, but he's not going to do that. He's going to make tons of money in the NFL, and there's no reason to take another year to get injured. So Folsom Prison is what it is. VHF, I'm going to leave that with you guys right there. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and put a comment down below. I will be live on Saturday morning before I go to do a pregame show, and then I'm going to be live for 5 or 6 times when I'm at the stadium showing you the Buff Walk and all of the cool things that go on around University of Colorado. The leaves are changing. They're actually past peak right now, but I didn't show you that in the last one, so I'll show you this time, and we will see you in the next video. Go Buffs.